Over the years, we have dealt with so much FUD around XRP. Initially, a lot of it was coming from, Bitcoin maxis. Then it was coming from Ethereum maxis. Now you have Chainlink maxis hating on XRP. It just feels like XRP is the most hated crypto out there. And I seriously have no idea why. I don't know why XRP is so hated. I don't know why everyone dislikes what Ripple is doing. I really don't see the big problem here. I don't see why XRP is that, outcast in this market and everyone just targets XRP. I guess it's mainly because XRP gets clicks. XRP gets, all of the engagement. So for them, they're like, oh, well, all the attention is falling away from Bitcoin or Ethereum or maybe even Chainlink. And they're like, oh, well, I know the perfect idea on how to generate a buzz. Let's just throw XRP's name out there and tag it. And I feel like that has been going on for a very long time now. Even going all the way back to the lawsuit. I remember when the lawsuit dropped, we saw Ethereum and Bitcoin maxis cheering. Even Vitalik Buterin was celebrating the lawsuit on X. Now, imagine if a lawsuit was announced against Ethereum or maybe even Bitcoin. You never would have saw that type of, support for, a lawsuit that's targeting one of the largest crypto projects. Like, imagine supporting a lawsuit like that. Supporting that lawsuit, and if that lawsuit would have been settled out from Ripple's side, which they had the money to do so, this space would look completely different today. Because most of these crypto altcoins would have been targeted as a security under Gensler. But I bring this all up and I talk about this because, I said back in January of this year, and I talked about it even then, I was saying that we have so much FUD against XRP right now because Bitcoin maxis were spreading so much FUD. They were talking about it every single day because, XRP was going crazy in terms of price. And I talked about it here. And I even said, just imagine what happens when all of this stuff happens. XRP ETFs, XRP flips Ethereum again, banks use Ripple's custody solution for various use cases, US banks announce that they will use XRP. I mean, there's so much here that could happen around XRP, but I brought this up because we were seeing so much hate for XRP from the Bitcoin side. Today, we're seeing more hate towards XRP from the Chainlink side. And this is a perfect example of just how much engagement is there when you tag XRP. Because I guarantee right now, if this just had link in it and XRP was not tagged, this would not have the likes and the views that it does right now. This is why these maxis, they love to tag XRP. They love to target XRP because it generates a buzz. It allows them to get a lot more recognition, a lot more exposure. And even now, we have this narrative floating around the space that, oh, Ripple insiders are selling XRP. Crypto Insight UK put it perfectly on X because, again, he was even saying that we recently saw, a large narrative around Ripple executives selling XRP, which, by the way, is true. Listen, they take profit. I mean, it's not like it's not a new thing to hear this, right? They've been selling XRP for years and years and years now. But the craziest part about this is look back at what just happened. Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoin whales have been selling Bitcoin. Okay, but what about the miners as well? Because miners sell their Bitcoin as well. They have to in order to fund their operation. But again, you won't see any Bitcoin maxis say that. Then Ethereum, right? They had a massive ICO, which allowed crazy whales to just buy up a ton of Ethereum. And today we know that a lot of these players have been selling Ethereum. But then even Solana, right? Solana also had an ICO. I mean, Solana rallied like crazy back in 2021 because of all the VCs backing it. VCs generate a buzz. They generate, media attention for Solana, which caused it to go crazy. If I was a VC backing a project and I had investment money tied to it, I would do everything in my power to make sure that that thing pumps. And that's exactly what happens with a lot of these crypto ICOs. So that happened, and then the whales sold off Solana. So what is the problem here with XRP? Why is XRP the only one that is talked about with this? Like, what about all of the other major projects in this space that have whales selling off massive amounts? You don't see that spotlighted. You don't see that talked about at all. But XRP, the second something happens around XRP, I'm telling you, everyone is talking about it because it generates clicks, it generates engagement. But the funniest thing about all of this, right, is we go over here. I don't care what negative people on X say about XRP. And this is from Neatsbucks. I hope that I'm saying that name correctly. XRP is indifferent to their insults. The truth is XRP Ledger keeps running, Ripple keeps growing and building utility, XRP Ledger projects keep growing and building utility. More and more institutional interest keeps growing. Treasury companies are growing. ETFs are coming. Companies all over the world are deploying on the XRP Ledger. Each day, more and more retail investors hear about XRP, like what they hear, and becoming holders and advocates, i.e. the army grows. XRP Ledger on-chain stats keep growing. The lawsuit is over. Regulations are falling in place to help the XRP Ledger where before they specifically target it, which, we've been talking about for quite a bit of time now. I mean, listen, the environment around XRP and the XRPL is so bullish for it. It's crazy. CME Group said the XRP futures contracts crossed 1 billion open interest in just over 3 months, the fastest ever. Gemini launched an XRP credit card and their app passed Coinbase in days. The list goes on. XRP was left for dead only a few years ago. And yes, then too, people on X claimed XRP was insert hyperbolic FUD. And now that the momentum is roaring, some are still saying it. Not surprised. But the simple truth is momentum is growing for XRP, and that momentum has many factors in the future that could exponentially increase it. Most of all, people like XRP. New people find the use case and community exciting. Nothing is decided yet. Crypto is ever evolving. If XRP is a community and public layer one that people like, talk about it, build on, and support, that is progress that can change the outcome of the future. All of this is to say XRP is indifferent to people saying negative things about it on X. You can be too. This is facts. This list here is exactly why XRP will be so much bigger than where it is right now. It's the same exact reason why I made this post over here, because again, I don't think that this space is prepared for what's going to be coming for XRP. Right? Like if we look at XRP's price action, when we look at the chart for XRP, I mean, everything around XRP is telling us to be bullish, yet we have so much FUD on X. It's insane. And talking about those companies, right? Those treasury companies, this is the 10 publicly announced. And, DCENT is 100% correct here. These are only 10 publicly announced. Trident, 500 million. Weebus, 300 million. Vivo, 121 million. Logistics, 50 million. Hyperscale, 10 million. Worksport, 5 million. BC Bud, 250,000. I mean, these amounts going down the list, you have 17 million here. You have 10 million. I mean, there's so much more value that could be easily added to XRP that people just don't realize. And these are just the 10 that have announced XRP treasury companies. We don't know how many treasury companies could be out there right now that are preparing XRP, treasury operations, but this is going to grow more and more and more. And then we also think about the ETFs, because again, what's holding back the ETFs? There's absolutely nothing holding back those ETFs. And that's the biggest wave of capital, because they are spot-based ETFs that 100% impact the underlying demand and value of the asset. If we're thinking about that, we go over here. This is from James Seifert. We have new Amplify ETFs just filed for an XRP option income ETF. This is extremely bullish. Now, if we're thinking about this, this is just yet another ETF added to the list of, XRP. And This is 15 filings and or applications for XRP ETFs that are currently pending approval in the US. I'm telling you guys right now, no one is ready for what is coming for XRP. Billions of dollars in inflows, massive amounts of treasury companies. I mean, guys, XRP is in such high demand right now that almost everyone in this space, everyone that is a maxi of another coin is now hating on XRP, and they're now focusing on XRP. If the demand is there like that in this space currently, imagine what happens with the ETF announcements. Imagine what happens with more treasury company announcements. Imagine what happens with more expansion around the XRP ledger, adoption of the XRP ledger. I mean, guys, we haven't even gotten a taste of some of the bigger announcements around XRP, yet this is how much drama and how much FUD and how much hype there is for XRP currently. Now, the biggest thing about these ETFs, we have over here. This is from the Paul Bearer Network. We have Canary Capital CEO says XRP ETF can do $5 billion in the first month and can outperform Ethereum from pure financial services. Check this out.
Into this, the Ripple ETF or XRP ETF approval odds right now on Polymarket hovering at around 86%. So one of its highest points, but it looks like this is going to happen. And what is the likelihood of the timing for this right now?
I would guess that XRP would probably be this year. Either Eric or James from Bloomberg simply said, well, if there's futures at Coinbase, then you probably get an ETF in 2025.
Your statement at that time was $5 billion in the first month. Are you still holding to that? Do you think that's a possibility?
I really am. I would say after Bitcoin, XRP is probably the most well-known on Wall Street and on finance circles. And then ETH is actually probably number 3. So if you think about it that way, I do believe that XRP could potentially outperform ETH just from pure financial services standpoint.
Into this.
And listen, he's not wrong about this. A lot of people will say that he's crazy. Oh, there's no way that, XRP's third. It has to be, or second, it has to be Ethereum. Because again, he said that Ethereum was third here. XRP is actually number, 2 when it comes to Wall Street and Wall Street focus. It's not surprising. Why isn't it surprising? Think about the use cases that XRP has always been circled around. Think about how large the Ripple name is. Think about Ripple putting ads around Wall Street. Wall Street is aware. Their eyes are on XRP. Ethereum ETFs are already out there. We know the numbers. They've been doing very well. I don't think people realize that XRP could easily outperform Ethereum. It's already done it before. It already has outperformed Ethereum just from the 12-month view. But imagine XRP ETFs outperforming Ethereum, and imagine XRP flipping Ethereum this cycle. Think about the pure mania that would cause. And it's 100% possible. And this is a story of the most hated that becomes the most beloved, that becomes the most successful as well. XRP is completely different when it comes to this space. It's one of those projects that no matter how much they tried, they couldn't kill it. They couldn't kill it. They couldn't keep it down. And now that pressure is just showing you where we can go. So far, it's been an incredible 12 months, right, for XRP's performance. I think we have a lot left in the gas tank. And I think that we need to be aware of this. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.